What's going on, yo? Welcome to another episode of NJ Healthy Heat, the podcast with your host, as always, Matthew Della Rosa. And today I've got a special guest, a current player, our first current player to join us. He is the shortstop over at Clemson University, Tyler Lichtenberger. And he's going to come on and talk about his journey to get to there. I know that a lot of parents and players listening to this podcast are interested on how you play at a Power 4 school, and we've got a guy right here that's going to be able to talk through his exact journey to get there. So rather than hear me talk about it, now we got somebody who's doing it firsthand. So without further ado, man, hey, why don't you introduce yourself to the people and let them know who you are?
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Tyler Lichtenberger. I'm currently a sophomore shortstop at Clemson University. Last year, I was previously at Appalachian State University, and yeah, I love my experience there. And here's been awesome as well. We haven't started the best, but it's been a great experience so far, and we're excited for the future.
Definitely, man. So yeah, let's talk about the Appalachian State. I think that's where you and I connected through my podcast with them. And so with coming from Appalachian State, how does that like what kind of role does that play in your life? Like the great year that you had at Appalachian State, where you were the freshman player of the year. You won the Sun Belt Freshman Player of the Year, to then transferring to Clemson. Very, very, I'm sure, difficult decision. What goes through that process? What are some thoughts that go through your head, and how do you make that decision?
Yeah, so ultimately, App State, I love it. I loved all the guys that were there. I loved all the coaches. I feel like I actually, grew up and kind of really became a man there with just, Kermit Smith's teachings and, Brett Johnson, Ross Steedley, all those guys. Coach Leggett isn't there anymore also, but, all those guys were just great to me and really just helped me grow as a person first, I'd say, more than anything. And being away from home for the first time, I'm from South Florida, so it was a pretty different experience, culture shock.
Yeah,
And I had great older guys that kind of just took me through that super easily. Cam Miller was just one of the guys, and then Juan Correa also. He's at USF now, and Cam Miller's still at App State. But I mean, those two guys in general, just first two to come to mind. But everybody on the team was just, we were super tight knit, and yeah, just the having a transfer, it was just kind of came down to it was always my dream to play Power Four ball. So that was probably the biggest thing of it.
yeah, definitely. What are those conversations like with like your parents? Like, what are you having to weigh? Right, you go back, you're just freshman of the year, you've got a secure spot at Appalachian State to come to Clemson, where I'm sure they're talking about potentially making you the starter, but it's not a given. I'm sure there's talent all over the place, right? You're
Mhm.
probably getting to fight for a spot. So, what helps make those decisions?
Yeah, being a transfer student, it is, it feels like freshman year all over again. New spot, coming in brand new. You're meeting new people. Seeing how things flow around here. So it was kind of an adjustment again. And yeah, it's just taking a step out of the comfort zone, and nothing's promised. As you said, having to compete was kind of a fun aspect again, just competing for a job. And yeah, it was super tough on me mentally leading up to the portal.
Yeah.
And just talks with my parents. Yeah, it was super tough, but then I think as it came down to it, I made the right decision coming to Clemson, and it's been great here so far.
Now the portal is something that's relatively new. You being a sophomore in college, it's called kind of always been a part of your journey. But for somebody who graduated in 2016, like it wasn't a part of any of our journeys. Had it been, I
I
probably would
got
have
you.
treated it out of my school. So what's it like putting yourself in the portal? Like what is the process to do that? And like what are the things that maybe kids who are in high school don't necessarily know about it right now, and parents who are looking at it?
Yeah, so there's a lot of paperwork. You go through the paperwork. That's just kind of just the start of it. You go through all the paperwork, all that stuff. You have to have those tough conversations with your coaches. That was super hard. Being such a good guy, Kermit Smith, and Brett Johnson. I love those guys to death, and it was just super hard to be like, hey, like I'm leaving, and yeah, once you do hit the portal, it ultimately opens up, and then schools kind of just reach out. Random numbers kind of were just calling me when the portal opened, and it was kind of like, just kind of weighing your options of location, coaches, the whole experience of your new spot, because it is going to be your new, your school for the rest of the time you're in college. You hope, you don't want to transfer multiple times. You hope you make one transfer and call it. And yeah, so that's just kind of my advice. Just take it as you will, I guess.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's super interesting. I mean, it's a whole new landscape for people. I'm sure you guys were just trying to figure it out on the fly. Do you have any brothers or sisters that played college sports or anything like that that were able to help you, or you're the
No, no, I was kind of on the fly with it. I kind of shouted out Juan Correa before, but he kind of did the whole portal thing. So he kind of walked me through that, and helped me out as to what to look for, what to do, and he was a big part of that. And yeah, no, I have no other siblings that played college sports, so it was kind of nerve-wracking at first. And my parents also, didn't really know too much about it, didn't know if it was the right decision. So that was like the biggest part, just like kind of reassuring them, like, hey, this might be the right step.
yeah. And the right step it was, man. Now you're over there at Clemson, balling out, doing your thing. I saw you had a big game last weekend.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
talk more about what you're doing at Clemson right now, but let's talk about Appalachian State. Right, you go into D1 baseball. Every kid's dream is to play D1 baseball, if not get drafted out of high school. And most people they kind of stumble out of the blocks. Right, they're getting used to college level playing. It's way different than high school ball, but you seem to have zero hiccups with playing collegiate baseball. Again, winning Player of the Year your first year. What is the mindset going into college baseball from high school baseball, and how are you able to successfully cross that bridge and crush it?
Yeah, so I went up early in the summer, which I think was huge, and I think a lot of people, if you're thinking about doing that, I think you should for sure, especially your freshman year. Go up there, get in there early with the coaches, your players, your other teammates, and it was good kind of creating those bonds super early. And then yeah, just kind of going to work, man. Like the fall was tough. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I struggled in the fall. It was not easy, just day in day out, the constant grind, and then you got class on top of that, and then you got your weight lift. We lifted after practice, so we would class, practice, and then you got to go to weights, and
Yeah,
you don't want to miss out anything on that end too, because you need to be as big as you possibly can physically and as strong as you possibly can to compete with some of these guys that are 23, 24 years old. They've been around the block, they've done it multiple years. And yeah, it was kind of just more of like, screw it. Like that attitude of just like, I got nothing to lose. Like, just let me go out here and try to play the best of my ability and, hope something shakes.
yeah, dude. And I mean, again, dude, hats off to you, man. That's a huge accomplishment for you. That's something that nobody can ever take away from you, and it's something that obviously you're proud of, and has gotten you to the spot that you're in right now. So again, that's super awesome. That's a big reason why I wanted to get you on the podcast, is so that you can share with some of these young athletes, the level of dedication, commitment, and sacrifice it takes to, one, play at Clemson, and two, be a player of the year in a conference like the Sun Belt, with a D1 program. And so, what are some of the steps that it took to get to college? What did your high school career look like? What did recruiting look like for you? How did you ultimately get to Appalachian State?
Yeah. So I'd say I was a late bloomer. Um, my freshman, sophomore year, I wasn't really big. I wasn't physical enough to be, one of these high rated prospects, committing to one of these crazy schools. And it was kind of discouraging at first. Cause I was still playing with, some of the best competition I was with, Cannons baseball, and, our whole team was pretty much committed to Power Five. We got guys, Miami guys, committed to all these big schools. And, I was kind of sitting there uncommitted, not really looked at, just because I was undersized. And that was the biggest part of just really grinding. I'd say after my sophomore year, kind of going into that junior season and that whole junior, like going into my junior year in general, that whole summer I just grinded, dude. Like I was playing JV baseball as a freshman. Like I wasn't like, people think, we see everybody online, some of these kids that just, have it at an early age, and it's not a bad thing, obviously, but some guys are just earlier than other guys. And yeah, I feel like it was just part of the process of really learning hard work and learning, how to grind the right way and, not take shortcuts in anything I do, whether that's ground balls, defensively or offensively, getting my swings in. And then again, just I feel like the weight room was my biggest unlock. And just for like younger kids out there, like I feel like, your weight room is going to be your best friend, um, especially at that age in high school when, maybe that's all the difference. Like you might have the hand eye, you might have the bat to ball skills. It's just, you're not big enough. And I think that's the biggest thing is just, you just got to get bigger.
Yeah, man. I mean, you don't know anything about me. For those listening, like we just met, Tyler and I just met about 10 minutes ago. But that was the biggest thing for me, man. I had every skill that I needed, and then I ended up just putting on 60 pounds. The next thing I'm getting drafted and able to play at the next level. And so I tell kids all the time, man, like that's all it is. Kids want to change their swing, they want to change the way
Yeah,
that they
no,
feel, the way that they throw, and for a lot of the kids, it's just like, dude, if you just get bigger and faster, like all that kind of stuff takes care of itself. Now you need some people along the way that are going to help
for
guide
sure.
you, right? High level coaches who can help mold you, but whatever you have naturally is probably already good enough, and it just needs to be refined with some skill that you put in on the work that you are talking about, and then just getting into the weight room and doing all of that stuff. So in high school, one last question about your high school, and then we'll move on to your college stuff again. What did that weight room process look like? How many days a week were you in there? What did you have to do? What were you weighing? What did you get up
So
to? Like, give us some metrics and stuff like that.
I got you. So pretty much I want to say sophomore, junior year-ish, I was probably like 160, 150. My
Mm.
sophomore year, I was probably 160,
I
170.
graduated at 160. Ugh,
Yeah. Dang, dude, for real.
mad, bro. But then, hey, I graduated college at 220, so I put in the work.
Okay, there we
Late,
go.
late, but dang,
Yeah, so
noodle, wet noodle.
I was probably about 150, 160, and I could always kind of swing it a little bit. It's just I never had power. I never really had juice. Like I was kind of, just a slap kind of singles type of guy. No doubles, no really triples, extra base hits, none of that. And then I was literally in the weight room probably, and it wasn't just me. Also, that was the biggest thing. Like it was me and my boys, which was the coolest part. And some of those guys are still playing college baseball, but even some of those guys, they just go to school now, but they're still grinding. So it's awesome to like see that it kind of like kept and carried over. And yeah, we were always in there. Just it was pretty much 7 days a week. Like we wouldn't really miss a workout, and it was just, um, we were kind of lifting like bodybuilders. I'm not gonna lie. Now, like looking back at it now, like we weren't really lifting
Getting
to
that
the
foundation.
extent. Yeah, early I say like early on, like sophomore yearish, we weren't really lifting as like kind of how we do now, and with other stuff to be an athlete. But I say, yeah, we were just bench press, squatting as much as I could. Probably wasn't the best idea, but just throwing plates on there, and then I'd say my junior year, that's when it really just started to like explode. I got up to about 180, and I just felt good. Like my body felt good. I was hitting the ball a lot harder. I was starting to hit balls over the fence. Like I hit my first home run my junior year,
Mm.
and um,
Ever.
yeah, ever, like over the fence. And it was just like it was like surreal, like just being able to, because like I feel like I worked for that like super hard, and to finally like have that happen. And again, like I said, it was like me and all of my high school teammates. Like another guy, Corey Kling, he's at Arizona now. He pitches at Arizona. I feel like I was in there with him. Another guy, Matt Pagan, he's at Santa Fe. He just committed to VCU to be a pitcher. And then James Littman, FAU's, I think he's a Friday or Saturday guy. He's a dog. We would all be in there just grinding and just having fun while we're doing it.
Love it, man. Yeah, I mean, the old saying goes, you know who you surround yourself with. You're the average of the five people you spend the most time with. So if you're spending your time around bad people, you're gonna get
Yeah,
bad results. If you're spending your time around, like you just said, four D1 dudes, you got no other choice but to get better every
yeah,
single day. So that's great, man. I want to talk back now into your college game, right? So you've had everybody who plays this game has a ton of success and they have a ton of failure, right? It's just the way that the game goes. How do you approach success, right? The success that you had at Appalachian State when you're riding high, you can't do no wrong. The ball looks like a beach ball. And then let's just start there. How do you handle success? How do you not get too big for your britches?
Yeah, so it all just kind of comes back to just trying to play winning baseball and trying to win games for your team. It was super simple. Just try to do. I feel like when I'm, you know, at the best, I'm just trying to. Obviously, every time you go out, you try to win games for your team and try your best to win the game and do what you can to win the game. But it's really like not even a thought, and it's kind of just like, hey, like what I do today is going to help the team win. Like, and you know it, like like I feel like I every day I knew like, hey, I'm coming out like I'm going to do something to help the team win today, and that's what you just got to play with as a young player. I feel don't try to get too caught up in the individual stuff because that's going to kind of come along as you help your team win the games. And if you could help your team win, keep winning, keep winning, then the individual stats and all that stuff will come along with it.
Definitely, definitely. And then on the flip side of that, when things are going wrong, right? We've all been there. We've all, made a bunch of errors. Can't buy a hit to save your life, right? How do you not dig yourself into a hole so deep that mentally you check out, and next thing you know, you've thrown away, two at bats, two games, 2 months of a season, and now the season's over, and you just weren't mentally strong enough to stay in it. How do you,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
flex
I feel
out of
like
that?
right now I'm going through that a little bit right now. I haven't had the best start as I wanted to, for me and to help my team win games. And yeah, it's just trying to be present in the moment, not worry about the future, not worry about or not even think about what happened in the past because it's over with. It's done. You can't really control it. You can't control anything. You can only control right now and what's going on in this moment. Um, and yeah, just trying to stay as simple as possible and really go back to the basics and just build that confidence up from the bottom up. If you're down there,
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, the being in the slow starts and being in the tough holes is really what separates, like, in my opinion, like a good baseball player from a great baseball player, right? Somebody who's able to like wear it, grind it out, and know that, like, all right, this is a long season, this is a marathon, not a sprint. While I'm maybe not hitting what I want to hit right now, all it takes is 1 week of me getting hot to flip that average around, and I'm just going to keep going about my business the same way I've been going about my business. I'm not going to hit the panic button. I'm not going to try to change my swing all of a sudden and play, a different style of baseball than what I'm used to. And
for sure.
that's what I want people to understand is, like, baseball is a very, very long game. And, if you just keep doing the little things over and over and over again, regardless of what's happening, that at the end of the season, you're going to be proud of whatever kind of work you
Mhm.
turned in. If not, you know what you need to work on the next season.
For
So,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, good stuff, man. I appreciate you, sharing that. I know it's not tough to get and talk about, maybe not having the best
Yeah.
start to the year. And so, what are you focused on right now, as far as like getting out of that, and what are the self talk that you're working on, or maybe some mental things that you're, in putting into your everyday life right now?
Yeah. It's just being super positive. It's easy to be negative when um, you're not going well, or we're losing a couple games here and there. It's easy to get super negative and super kind of panicked. I feel, and then that's when things start to kind of speed up on you and just really could take off into something a lot worse than what it actually is. Our strength guy, Rick Flansbaugh, he said something, that kind of stuck with me early in the fall. Um, it's never as bad as it seems, and it's never as good as it seems. You always want to stay right in the middle, and yeah, that's just trying to stay in the middle, trying to find that middle spot. Um, yeah, and that's just again positive self talk is just my biggest thing right now, and just knowing that there is gonna be another side of this. So
Definitely, man. I mean, you're still young, dude, and you've got 2 more years, and you've got a whole second half of a season to figure it out. With the type
for
of
sure,
baseball player that you are, just seeing stats alone, you're gonna figure it out quickly, no doubt
yeah.
about it.
Thank you.
And once you do figure it out, I've seen already that you're already being talked about and mentioned in, like, the 2027 draft. I'm sure you're giving it some thought, but probably not as much because you're focused in season. But when those conversations begin to happen, and scouts are probably at y'all's practices, and maybe you're starting to get some letters, what is all of that look like to you? Is it something you even give thought to?
Yeah, as of right now, not really. I'm trying to stay in the moment, trying to stay present, trying to just get this team to Omaha, get this team to win Omaha. and then that stuff all comes later with winning baseball games. So, and helping my team to win as many baseball games. So that's just kind of where I'm at right now. Super early in all that process, but um, yeah.
Yeah, awesome, man. And then a lot of people probably wonder what goes on an everyday lifestyle of Clemson baseball players. So, kind of walk us through what a day in the life looks like for you guys over there.
Yeah, so I'll give you an off day today, and then I'll give you kind of a game day. So today, Monday, we just came off a series away at Notre Dame. Got in last night around 7. Ate dinner, went to bed, and then this morning I had class at 11 o'clock. Went to class, did my thing at class, came to the field. We had some treatment work done um, with our trainer, Miss Kim. She's great. Got a little cupping, little heat, little that, and then we had lift at 2 o'clock. So we had lift at 2 o'clock. Went in there, got a good lift in. Middle of the season, you got to still stay on those lifts.
Yeah.
It's easy to get complacent, kind of skip reps, whatever, but you got to stay with it. And then after lift, kind of 3:15 ish, got in here, got into the cage behind me. We just took some swings. Nothing too crazy, just some tee work, routine stuff, and then a little fastball, a little off speed, and then call it a day. And then now, um, the rest of my day today after this call, I'll probably go in, maybe get in. I'm gonna get in some um, red light therapy in our recovery little area, and then yeah, just go home, go to bed, do some homework. And then let's just say we got a game day. We got a game tomorrow against Coastal. Um, so I think it's a 7 o'clock start. So we'll get in about 4 hours before. And it's pretty much just, it's the same thing every game, pretty much get in there. We'll do our scouting meeting. We'll do our team meeting. Get some treatment if you need treatment. We'll go through. We got early work if you want to swing early. A lot of guys swing early here. It's good. We're trying to build that culture, just, working as hard as we possibly can.
Yeah.
And then after that, we will eat. We got some food in there for us in the clubhouse. We'll eat, chill out for a little bit, come back out, um, prep for throw, IO, or we'll do BP before all of that. We'll do BP, and then we got IO after that, and then it's pretty much game time. So,
Yeah, no, that's good stuff, dude. I mean, the fact that you guys have red light therapy, I was sitting here thinking like, wow, how blessed are you to be able to just get
no,
all of
yeah,
that?
it's awesome. We
That's
got all
incredible.
that cryo, all that.
How often do you take advantage of like cryotherapy and anything like that? Like, what's your go-to recovery tools right now?
Yeah, so the cryo stuff, I'll get in there maybe once every 2 weeks. I try to get in there, but it's a little hard to get in there a lot. But then our red light therapy, our red light therapy is right here, and it's called the Watt Performance Center. And we have a bistro in there where we eat. You get 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
How's the food over there?
It's good. It's really
It's
good. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Like it's not like, cafeteria food. Like it's high quality stuff. And that's for pretty much I think all Olympic sports, including and then baseball. And then because football has their own stuff, like their
Yeah,
own facilities. But
that's a whole
yeah,
separate
yeah,
deal.
that's a whole different deal. But yeah, so they feed a bunch of us in there. And then we have like I said, like our red light therapy beds are in there, and we use those a lot. And then they have massage chairs in there. They got water massage chairs, like a cocoon, like a red light therapy cocoon thing that you could go in. It's crazy. Like some of the stuff is wild, but I try to take advantage of that as much as possible, especially on off days. Take care of your body. It's a long season, so that's the most important part, staying healthy.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Now, outside of baseball, man, everybody sees a baseball player and they only see what you do on the field, but there's so much more that goes into life outside of just playing baseball, right? You're kicking it with the boys at the crib. You in an apartment or you living on campus?
Yeah, so I'm in an apartment with 4 other dudes.
Yeah, so talk through that. How is that? How
Yeah.
is life outside of the field? Are you guys hanging out together outside of the field a ton, or are you guys hanging out with other sports? Just talk to the people about what it means to be a college athlete all the way around.
Yeah, so it's great. I live with four other guys, so we are pretty much together all the time. It feels like because we come to the field and then we'll come back home and we'll just sit there and talk, man. We have a nice couch. We just sit on the couch, talk, maybe throw on some wheels, throw on some ball, and just watch
Yeah.
ball. Like we watched some
Wheels on
March Madness.
YouTube.
Yeah, little
Love.
wheels on YouTube. It's funny. Yeah, we'll go in there and just chop it up. We'll watch old games. Because some of these guys, as my one roommate, Jacob Jarrell, he's been here. This is his fourth year, so he's got a bunch of videos on YouTube. In the fall we were all watching Wheels with him, like, and he was kind of talking to us about like what was going on in the dugout, or like what was being said here, what was there, like, so it was kind of cool to see that insight. And then yeah, we'll just watch other guys' highlights and just it's a lot of fun. Just being in the house with all those guys, and then we'll hop on video games. We'll play some video games. Me and my other roommate, Colin Priest. We play like Rainbow Six Siege. We got a big
Oh, that's
Fortnite.
insane, bro.
A bunch of
You on
guys are playing
PlayStation or you
Fortnite.
on?
I'm PlayStation.
Let's go, dude. What's your
Yeah, dude.
character?
I've been playing a lot of Capcan.
Let's go.
So a lot of Capcan, and
You
we'll get.
taking the PS5 on the road or no?
No, not yet. We haven't yet, but maybe the Cali trip we will. It's a little bit longer, so maybe we will.
Yeah, man. In pro ball, the guys were taking it on the bus. Man, they had the little like flip up screen and
Yeah,
stuff
I
that they
see
were
those
on the back.
online.
Yeah, man, they were just out there
Yeah,
gaming,
those
bro.
things look cool.
Yeah, man. That's
A lot of
I'm into
our
video games, but I'm not traveling with a
Yeah,
PS5.
no, I don't need to travel yet for a 3 game series. But a lot of our guys, we'll run Fort. Like they'll put in the group chat and they'll be like, "Hey, Fortnite, like 8 o'clock runs," and like we'll have like half the team on there just like playing box wars and like zone wars and all that. So it's fun. It's a good time. We make the most of it. You don't get a lot of time, uh, away from the field or off, but we make the most of it when we do.
Definitely. Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Yeah, playing video games with your team is so much fun, man. That's some of the best time that you'll spend in college is just rage baiting, players in
Yeah.
video game lobbies. So good stuff there, dude. Last thing, man, when it comes to just a piece of advice that you can give to, some of the high schoolers out there who are looking to get where you're at, right? You're in this prestigious position, which I know that you know already. But how would you speak to a younger you or just a younger generation that's coming up trying to get to where you're at?
Yeah, I'd say stick with it. Don't get discouraged. There were times where I'm sitting there and I'm like, dang, like you see, especially now, like with the social media and everything, you see all these kids like getting committed, to these big time schools, like maybe a little bit earlier than you, or you feel like maybe, hey, like I'm not as good as this guy. This guy is so much better than me. Like, how am I ever going to get a chance to play? Um, at that level, and it's just like, dude, like stay with it. Like you're not as far off as you think. Like even from here where I'm at today to just 2 years ago, like if you would have told me I would be the starting shortstop at Clemson like 2 years ago, I would have been like what are you talking
You're
about? Like
crazy.
are you serious? Like seriously? So it's just staying with that process and just finding the right people to do it with, I'd say. The whole process, you want to have fun through it all and just enjoy it because it goes fast. Like I was talking the other day with a couple of my guys, like we'll send like our memories from high school in, and it's like, dang, like this feels like literally like yesterday. And it's like, just enjoy it, like enjoy your process, enjoy those bus rides, enjoy like everything you're doing, because then one day like it's not going to be there. And then yeah, just you got to work hard, dude. Like I know it sounds cliche, and like people are always like, hey, like work hard, work hard, work hard. Like you got to really want it and just kind of do stuff that maybe other people aren't willing to do. Whether that be early or late at night, early in the morning, and just work as hard as you can. Because let's just say you do work as hard as you can, and you don't make it, then you could live with that. But if you don't work as hard as you can and you don't make it, then it's like, hey, like maybe I had a little bit more in the tank. So that's just what I would say to a younger guy, and kind of what I would want to hear as a younger guy.
Yeah. No, dude, I mean, working hard, I hope everybody who listens to this, or at least the younger generation, knows like that's the bare minimum at this
Yeah.
point. Like, it's no longer, oh, if I just work hard, I'll get to where I want to go. Like everybody's working hard. So what happens when you
Mhm.
run into a Tyler Lichtenberger, right? Who's also working hard? Like, how do you pass him? So that's where you need to start thinking if you're a kid listening to this is like, how do I work hard, but also find different avenues to like pass people who are also working hard, just like me. Um, give us last two things. I know that I said that was the last one, but I'm interested in
No,
this.
all good.
Give us your like favorite fielding routine and your favorite maybe your favorite fielding drill and maybe your favorite hitting drill.
Okay. Fielding, I'd say I like to do. I feel like fielding all starts with your feet. It starts from the ground up. So I'd say I really like to work is on my footwork while I'm fielding. Um, whether that be dailies, we do kind of something we call it just like what we do like every day, just kind of like you know, and it's just like basic footwork stuff. I like the flat paddle. I haven't really been using it here, but I like the flat paddle a lot in the off season, and then even like a mini glove, kind of just to make sure you're staying down with the ball and kind of working with the ball. And then I feel like on the offensive side, and then again, footwork, I like the ladder drills. I do a lot of ladder drills in the off season.
Yeah,
I think it's a good thing because your footwork is could always be better, and that's what's going to make your throws are going to be better if you have good footwork. It's easier to field ground balls if you have good footwork. So I think that's like one of the most important things. And then on the offensive side, not really a drill, but I do like a lot of machine work, and just make it like challenging, like super hard. Like, we have the Marv balls, the little Marv balls. They're not little,
yep,
but it's like the regular size baseballs, and they're just like kind of rubber or foamy. And you kind of just, put that machine all the way up and just crank it up, and then you drop those in there, and that 95 looks a lot better come game day.
yeah. No, I was talking to the Red Sox hitting coach from the 2018 World Series. I had him on the podcast, and he was talking about the Marv balls, and he was saying that he prefers baseballs over the Marv balls or like the drive line balls, but he does like the drive line balls at the top of the zone
Yes,
to
that's what I do.
reinforce like a ball with carry on it,
Yeah,
right?
like some
Kind of
yeah
dirt on it. Yeah.
some IVB. Yeah,
Yeah. That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on, dude. I know that you're in college, and I'm not going to take up too much of your time, man. I really do appreciate you coming on here and just talking to the people. I hopefully you know that you're in a really cool spot, and you should be very, very proud with what you've accomplished already in your young career. I can't imagine that this is going to be the last we hear of your name. I'm sure we're going to see it on ESPN more times than not in the near future. So best of luck to you in Clemson. Would love to see you guys in Omaha, man, doing it.
all good. Thank you. Thanks for
All
having me,
right,
my guy.
for sure. Peace. Be easy.
Thank you.